Welcome into another edition of the AHSAA Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Brooks, soon to be joined by head baseball coach at GW Long High School, Coach Drew Miller. GW Long, arguably the best baseball program here in the state of Alabama. They have the most state championships in AHSAA history, and they were there last year, ended up getting beat by a really good Westbrook Christian team that had a couple of D1 commits and a kid that, got drafted, and Samuel Dutton, but ended up going all the way to game 3 last year with them. And now a hungry group of kids there at GW Long looking to get back. And so look forward to talking with Coach Miller, talking about their program, kind of the expectations there and what's ahead of them here in the postseason. And then we'll talk with Coach Jonathan Raper from Phil Campbell High School. Phil Campbell had a fantastic team last year and looks to have another great group again this year. They returned some really good players from that team last year that was there playing in the state championships. And, there's a lot of experience and a lot of guys that kind of, they've built an expectation of winning. I went up there and visited Phil Campbell, and Coach was telling me about how his guys go and just hit all the time. And I talked to a couple of kids while we were sitting there, and they were like, all right, Coach, we're going to go and, go grab a bucket of balls and go hit right after we were leaving interviews. And this was a week after winning, being in the state championship last year. So, it's incredible what Coach Raper's been able to do and build up there at Phil Campbell as well. And so look forward to talking with him and talking about how his team plans on getting back, and, should be a great conversation. So we'll send you over to those conversations. I'm joined by Drew Miller from GW Long and then Coach Jonathan Raper from Phil Campbell High School. I want to welcome in our next guest here on the AHSAA Podcast, Coach Drew Miller from GW Long High School, the head baseball coach there at GW Long High School, maybe the most storied baseball program that we have here in the state of Alabama now. They have the most state championships. And Coach, you've been a huge part of that as a player and as a coach there at GW Long. And, you guys are sitting there at 26-7 the last time I saw, I think earlier this week, and just another incredible year for you guys. And what's impressive is when I look at your schedule, y'all don't just do it by playing a bunch of 1As and 2As and teams around your level. You really go and challenge yourself, and your guys get to see some of the best competition in the state. And to me, that's what's had them prepared when this time of year, the postseason, comes around every single year.
Yeah, that's kind of our philosophy. Been that way for a long time. We like to play good competition, and we really don't look at the wins and losses that much. We look at the quality of our opponent and how we play each time we go out. We have played a tough schedule this year. We were able to go. We started the year with a tournament in Troy at the Terry Sykes Invitational, and then we moved up and went to Birmingham and played in the Perfect Game High School Showdown. That was a very interesting experience. That was some of the better competition through the southeast of the, really through multiple states. And we competed there. And then we went down to Gulf Shores and played in their tournament. We've done that quite a few times, and that's always a lot of fun. And we were able to make it to the championship game, which was the first time in our school's history to do that. And we ended up getting beat by a good team out of Arkansas. So, yeah, we've played a good schedule, and we feel like we're battle tested. And now we just got to play well each weekend.
How similar would you say is your coaching style to how you played, and what your playing style was like? And, you were an aggressive guy. You got in the box and went in there to hit and get after stuff. And would you say that your coaching style is very similar to that?
Well, yeah, I guess. We are very passionate about what we do, and we like to, for that to be seen when we play. And hopefully, the passion that I have maybe can rub off on our players. That's the big difference between coaching and playing is, as a player, you try to, do your best and hopefully impact the people around you. And as a coach, you just really, try to give them, tips and the opportunity to, play well and do their best.
Tell me about your team this year, coming off of the state championship appearance last year. How many guys did you lose off that group last year? And what, has this whole season kind of been like trying to figure out how to replace some of those guys that you lost?
Well, that was knowing coming into the year, that was going to be one of our strengths. We lost 2 seniors last year. One that was in our starting lineup and a pitcher. So we have a ton of guys back, and that's been a big positive for us. We probably got 10 or 11 guys that we feel like can hit in our order, and we've had to shuffle some things around and try to get the right guys in the right places, which that's kind of a good problem to have. But experience, the experience we went through last year was probably one of the keys for us, knowing coming into this year we were going to play a good schedule, and they have been through the fire. With last year was disappointing, but at the same time, we played a great Westbrook Christian team, and that was just it was a different experience for us in Montgomery, but one that we felt like we moving forward it'd really be beneficial.
That's what I was going to. I mean, with the amount of guys you have coming back from that team, there has to be a lot of motivation with this group to get back to that point and end it the way that you guys want to end it this year.
Yeah, you're right. I don't want to say we have a bitter taste in our mouth, because each year's a new year, but at the same time, when you make it to the championship game and you fall short, it's just not a good feeling. The one thing that kind of kept me at peace about it was Westbrook Christian was just better than us. I mean, we've played them multiple times in the championship game, and it was really similar to 3 years ago when we played them in the championship game. We had the veteran team. We had the seniors that had been there before, and it just totally flipped on us. Last year we were inexperienced, and they had been there. So it was kind of ironic the way that happened.
Can you see a different maybe level of hunger, like in this off season when you guys were working, things like that, when you make it and you lose, you're not used to losing the state championship game. Was there maybe a different level of hunger you saw from your guys with the way they worked this off season, the way they prepared for this year?
Maybe a little bit. We don't talk about it a whole lot. It's definitely probably in the back of their mind, but it's not something I bring up. I was really proud of those guys last year. I mean, we had a lot of guys in our lineup that had never seen time. When we start the year, every year, we have in a small school, we have to share athletes. And we, starting last year, I think we had one varsity at bat in our lineup when we started the year that had a varsity at bat. It was very similar this year when we started the year in game one. We had to bring up 2 8th graders, and we only had 11 guys in our dugout. We had 7 guys that were playing on our basketball team, and that made a deep run. So they saw success in the winter, and we think that some of that hopefully is these guys that had been a part of a winning program, and that's done nothing but help us. So starting the year sometimes becomes difficult because we don't have all our guys out there, but at the same time, sometimes it helps. It helps us get hot at the right time because we feel like we're playing well right now, and hopefully that's we'll be playing our best in the next week, moving forward.
Talk about just the athletes as a whole that's at GW Long right now. I mean, you look at the girls side with how good the softball team is, volleyball team has been, even the girls basketball team. You just mentioned the boys team made a big run in basketball this year. Football had a great year last year. You guys obviously doing what you're doing in baseball. I mean, just what is it about the athletes that's at that school right now, and any sport, GW Long is right there at the top of the state?
I think it's a kind of a mixture of two things. We have some great kids here, guys and girls that really want to win for our school. And that's the main thing that we try to emphasize is, this is a group thing, and all of our kids really want to win for our school. The other thing I think is we have such continuity among our coaching staff. We've got coaches that are all pulling in the same direction. And we, when you got guys that and girls that want to do things the right way, with coaches, that really helps. And yeah, our girls sports right now are outstanding. From our volleyball team with Craig Long as their leader, to Jody Hughes with our basketball program, and then with Nikki Long leading our softball program. They're really outstanding right now, and we're hoping the softball team will make a good push here late, and we'll see what they're going to do.
When all sports are winning and doing well like they are right now, do you see like even more school pride being poured into the students there and to the athletes? Like, do you think it even makes them more proud to be at GW Long and be a part of that?
Yeah, I think so. sometimes, you can see success is something that it can last year after year, and just, it becomes, it spreads. And I think the kids, they see the teams we've had in the past, and, they want us to try to strive to do as well or better. So, again, we have great kids here. They're hardworking kids. We have great parents. They're easy to work with, and that just makes our job that much easier.
Would you say that, you talked about the experience that you had coming back on this team and everything. Would you say that that has probably been the strength of this baseball team this year, is just the amount of guys that have played at the varsity level and played at the biggest stage they could play at the varsity level? Yeah,
I think that's definitely one of the things that we have going for us. We've had guys that have been, they've played. Our shortstop, Trevor Morris, he's been playing a long time. He had time. We pulled him up in the 8th grade, but he started playing in the 9th grade a little bit, and then he's been he's stayed in our lineup for the last 3 years. He's just, he's a very quiet leader, but he's a guy that has been through a lot of fires with me and our teams that we've had, and that definitely guys like that have been through it. That's definitely a huge advantage, we feel like.
Tell me a little bit about, you guys in Ayrton and just that rivalry that you guys have down there, and how fun is it to have that and to have a team that is always kind of looking to you. Y'all are kind of looking to them. And, each time that y'all match up, there's so many people that are so invested in y'all's matchups.
Well, that helps that we're in the same county. We're in the same school system. Our kids know each other. They talk before and after the game. They get after it during the game. But I'm just not a huge fan of the word rivalry. I think that takes our kids into a different place that I don't want them to be. I like them. I want us to play each and every game like it's a rivalry, not just 1 or 2 games. When we look at that series during the year, it's another series for us. And, we just want to play our best. I don't like our kids get caught up in the, I don't know what you call it, the stuff around the game. I want them to play their best and do their best. And we really, that's one of our biggest, go-tos when it comes to our philosophy is let's just worry about ourselves. And, it is a good rivalry. That probably last year when we played in the state semifinals, that was probably the biggest crowd it is the biggest crowd I've ever seen at a series. There was a lot of people, and that's created from our communities. Both communities are invested in what we do. So, it's definitely a lot of fun, but we try to take it as just another game and just concentrate on us doing our best.
And your guys obviously do a pretty good job of that. When you look at them, when I've talked to some of your guys, they kind of seem to stay focused. And is that something that y'all really talk about all year? In the off season, during the season of, not worrying about other stuff and really focusing pitch by pitch, as the season goes on?
Yeah, we do. We don't like to get too high or too low. We just want them to concentrate on the next thing they have to do. We feel like, and baseball is such a game of failure that if you don't do that, you can get caught up in your failure. We have to be mentally tough enough to get through the times when we don't do so well, and mentally tough enough not to get caught up in when we do succeed. We need to, stay focused on what we got moving forward. And yeah, we do emphasize that. But it's, we're still dealing with high school kids that are emotional and coaches that are emotional and people who are not perfect. And so we try to, just emphasize that daily, just to try to keep us in the right place.
Tell me about the first round matchup with you guys, how you felt about the way that your team played. You said that you feel like that you guys are playing, really, really good baseball at this time of the year. Can you look at your team right now, like before playoff games and everything, just, see the comfort level and the, we've been here before, we've done this, and this is kind of where we expect to be every year? Well,
I don't know. You can't take anything for granted. I do know that. We didn't have a good practice on Tuesday. We just kind of were going through the motions, and we had to have a little bit of a reality check that day. we came out yesterday and practiced better. And, sometimes it's good to go through those peaks and valleys through the week. The week of a playoff series for practice is a long week, and, kids get really antsy and want to play. But we have to try to keep our, our practice schedule always stays the same. We've been doing it for probably 8 or 9 years the same way. And it's been, we feel like we've had success doing it. And we just try to, if we make it the same every week, we feel like the kids know what they're going to do, and they'll have an idea of what we're doing that day, so they can prepare mentally for, each thing that we're going to ask them to do. So
is there maybe some unfair pressure, I guess, that's put on your teams, especially here, like over the last couple of years, where, the history of this program, how much you guys have won and all that? Now these guys they reap the benefits of it, of being a part of a program that wins and all that. But is there maybe some more pressure on the teams over the last 5, 6, 7 years to win games and to win championships because of what past teams have done?
Well, pressure's only something that you place upon yourself. We like that. We like the thought that we do need to win. Every time we go out, we try to. But at the same time, that can, if you get in the wrong place with things like that, it can be a detriment. One thing it does is it makes us very battle tested through the entire part of our schedule. We normally see good pitching throughout the entire year. We enjoy that. That one of my biggest things is during our area play and during the playoffs, that's not going to be the first time we've seen really good pitching. We want to see it, 10 or 12 times during the year, hopefully, and that'll be the best guys we see. So we are prepared when we see, somebody in the playoffs or during area play that is very good. And we normally do see that, during area play or during the playoffs. So, we try to embrace that, but at the same time, it's not something we talk about a lot. The kids understand; they understand all of it. But we just try to, just really concentrate on the team we have. It'd be unfair if we didn't. So, that's just our main concentration is, each and every year what we're trying to accomplish. So.
Tell me about this week's matchup, playing against Orange Beach. You get to host them at your place, and so they're going to have to, make the long drive over to you guys. And tell me about this matchup, what you know about them, and what's kind of your keys. What are you really looking for from your group this weekend?
I think Orange Beach, they haven't been a school for very long, couple of years, 3 years. So they, from what I understand, they started as, with a bunch of young kids and worked their way up to get into varsity competition. They have and they're still young, but they're good young. And they've got a couple arms that are, worrisome. They've got guys through their lineup that can hit it. They've got a good catcher, guy that can really throw, that likes to throw. So we've looked at some things, but again, we do look at our opponent. We like our coaches to look at our opponent, and we try to, keep the kids concentrated on really taking care of their own business. And if they do the right thing and, put us in good situations, and we can, get a few timely hits, and our main focus is pitching and defense. And then, if we can get a couple of those timely hits, then, we feel like we'll have an opportunity to win. This time of year, the teams that can throw and catch and limit mistakes are the ones that usually come out on top. So that's been our focus through the week at practice. And, we'll go out today and kind of fine tune a little bit, but, we've looked at Orange Beach, and hopefully our experience will help us. And, but they're going to be tough, and they've got some kids that can play. They are young, but again, they're good young.
You've been doing this a lot. You've played a lot of home series, you've played a lot of road series in the playoffs. What is the biggest advantage to playing at home in the postseason?
Well, the travel is one thing. Sometimes we do like getting on the road, and, we'll leave early, and, we can kind of travel as a team together. And, that sometimes helps. But, Orange Beach, we made that trip already this year. That's a good 4 hour and 15-minute drive. So, I'm glad they're doing it, not us. But playing at home's it's the comfort of playing at home for anybody, I think is helpful. We'll, the kids know our routine at home, so that those things are very helpful going into a big series. So, our community will be here, and we've got a great baseball community, and we know a lot of them will be here, tomorrow. So, that's, playing at home is always a huge, huge help.
Obviously, you guys aren't looking ahead and you're focused on the series, but, moving the baseball state championships to Chocolaca, to Jacksonville State, does that add any kind of extra motivation or excitement you feel like to your guys, or even to you to, go compete for a championship at a different venue and be a part of the first event up at that place?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I don't even know if our kids know it moved. They might, but I talked to Wes Brooks yesterday, and he was very excited to be a part of that. I think the format's going to be great. With the venue, I love going to Riverwalk and I love going to Patterson, but they're huge. So I'm very interested to see what this, these new stadiums that aren't quite so big, they're unbelievably nice. We played it in Oxford before, but and it's great. But I'm very curious to know how it's going to be with, you got smaller communities coming. It is a little bit more of a drive, but if you're playing for a state championship, I would think anybody would want to go. But I'm very curious to see what those venues are going to have in store. It's going to be different because it's not going to be so big.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think from a setting standpoint, like from a crowd standpoint, with JSU, it's not as big. And so I feel like you're going to, you'll have more seats that look filled up and may even make for a better atmosphere because you won't have it as spread out as it was at Riverwalk Stadium.
Exactly. That's why I was excited to see where it was headed. I don't know what the future holds moving forward after this year, but whoever is able to play there, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Coach, you guys will try to take the next step into getting to that point this weekend as you guys take on Orange Beach at home. Really, really appreciate you taking the time to join me here on the AHSAA podcast today, and good luck to you and your team. Really look forward to seeing how the next couple of weeks go for you guys.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
I want to welcome in our next guest here on the AHSAA podcast, head baseball coach at Phil Campbell High School, Coach Jonathan Raper. And Coach, first off, thank you for taking the time here during the school day to join me. And, I know you guys have a lot going on. You're going to be getting set to head over to Plainview and compete in the second round tomorrow against a really good team. They come in at 25-5. And, first off, just kind of tell me about your group this year, Coach. You lose a lot off of last year's team that was there in the state championship and holding up a blue map. And what was it like having to try to replace all of those guys and to try to put the pieces together to get back to where you guys now are here in round number 2?
It's been fun. It's been exciting. We did have a big turnover, but the young men we had coming back they were along for the journey, on for the ride, and they seen how exciting it was, and they worked hard. And when they were given the opportunity, they've stepped up to the plate and done a good job. We're a lot different team this year, I guess, than we were last year because we are a little bit younger. We had so many seniors last year, but when we started out, there were some bad days and ugly days. But as we got to play, and we've got a lot better, and we've done a good job here lately of throwing strikes, pounding the zone, playing good defense, and we're starting to hit the ball better, from top to bottom. But like I said, they've worked hard and they put a lot into it. So we expect to be here and we want to be here. It's not as easy as everybody thinks, but it's they work hard to be here, get this opportunity.
Was there any kind of pressure that was on your guys this year, and maybe even like unfair pressure because you lost so many off last year's team? You had a lot of guys that were maybe a part of that group last year, but weren't on the field winning the championship. Was there any kind of pressure that was, on this group coming into this year to defend the title and to kind of live up to what last year's team did?
Yes, there was. I mean, when people introduce or see us, they say the 2021 state champions, and, we lost 7 kids off that team, and 6 that played, every day. And it's not fair to these young men because it is such a big turnover. But then again, I said, you got to embrace that because that's something that, that people look at us and that we're, have a good program and you're a part of it and you need to step up and carry it on. And it's not, it's a total different group and team, but, there was some pressure there. And I think they, for the most part, handled that and adjusted to that very well.
How's it been for you? You had your son with you last year playing and getting to enjoy that. How different has it been for you this year?
Well, it's been a lot different. I only have one son on this year's team.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I guess it's me and Ridge. He being a pitcher and then playing in the field. We would go home and talk stuff. And those seniors, I'd been with them so long, and they knew the game so well, and we would discuss stuff. And I missed that, interaction with my son. Now he's in college and playing, and I mostly get to just talk to him on the phone. I don't get to see him play a whole lot, but that sport's been different, but it's, and then it gave my other son a chance just to, I guess, sort of be by himself and not be the little brother. And now he's, sort of in the starting lineup, and he's playing every day where last year he didn't. So, it's been good for him sometimes to get away from big brother.
Yeah, that's what I was going to, have you seen him maybe grow up a little bit this year, getting away from his own and kind of just getting to be, himself out there and not be the younger brother and not be the young raper and that type of stuff,
Yes, he is. He's done a good job with that. He stepped up. He's hit in the 2-hole for us for the most part of this year and played center field for us. And he's done a real good job. He's, like I said, I've been proud of him. He's played well this year.
Only one senior on this team, Mason Sweeney. He's a good senior. He's committed to the University of Alabama to go play baseball. But what's the most difficult part of, having as many as you had last year and then now only having one guy this year?
This is, it's a new experience for them as far as, hey, that they're responsible for everything. Just like, I told them the other day is this group is a little bit more free spirited, not as much business like as last year's group, but they when it comes to time to play, they get ready to play, but they have more fun, I guess, is what I try to say. They more lively and joke around in the cages and enjoy everything. And when it comes time to play, they do, but then they get business-like and ready to play. But this group enjoys the game and has a lot of fun with each other and playing. And it's been a little bit of adjustment for Mason going back. We were this way last year, and this is a whole totally different group, and it's more, I guess, a little bit laid back as far as approach they take. So it was an adjustment for everyone. And Mason's done a great job. He's a great leader, and he's took a lot of these young men under his wing, and took them and showed them the ropes and stuff. And it's been a fun experience, like I said. And, I think once we went to the beach and we come back from there, we went down there and played good baseball. And once we come back, we've played good baseball, and we got to spend a lot of bonding together and bond. And that was good for us. So it's been a good experience all the way around.
Where have you seen Mason make the most improvement from his junior year to now being a senior this year?
He's in all phases. He just works so hard. He's his bat is and he's probably his average is not as good this year as it was last year at this point in time. As far as, because at first I tried to tell him, you're going to have to be a little bit more patient this year as far as when it starts, especially because, people try to pitch around you more. And you're going to have to make sure you hit good pitches. And if they walk you, and just, that's why we got 9 people swinging. And like I said, he's done a good job of that and adjusted to that. And his defense is just, it's unreal how good he is defensively. And he's not through as much for us this year because we've had so many younger kids, and we threw a lot of them a ton more because we know what we have with Mason. And, but when he's needed, we've needed him. He's through this year, and he's through good, very good for us. And so it's overall, he's just improved in all areas. He's got, bigger, stronger, and he's faster this year. So he's like I said, he just works so hard. He's he's done a good job for us, the last few years, and he just continues to improve every day.
Can saying goodbye to as many seniors you did last year be a good thing in the sense that, like from a complacency standpoint, when you have a whole new group coming in like you had this year, they're not as likely to be complacent. They're probably wanting to go do what last year's team did and work for that. And do you think that maybe helped in that sense where, you don't have this group coming back that want it, maybe thinks that they can just walk in and do it again? And have you seen this group maybe have just not be complacent about what last year's team did because a lot of them weren't out on the field for that?
Yes, I think so. And I think one of the things is they want to prove, these younger kids want to prove to these seniors, because like I said, we were real close and they've all grew up together, been together so long. And I think we have 5 of those young men now playing in college baseball. And so when they come back, it's a little bit of jabbing with each other and rivals say, hey, we're better than y'all was last year and this stuff like that. So it's been a good thing. And they've tried to step it up and say, hey, we're one better than you at this time last year or that, so it's been a good little, fun humor, because they've got to come back and watch us play at different times this year. And like last Friday in the first round, I think we had, 4 of them that got to come to the first round games, and it was good to have them there, and the kids enjoyed it. And then, like I said, it's been some fun times as far as us comparing each other. That's just because they're so close, and we have brothers on here and stuff. So it's been good with that part.
What are your keys now? I mean, having to make a long trip, you talked about, last year y'all made a trip across the state the same exact way, but you're going to a really good Plainview team. They come in at 25-5, which is impressive coming off the run that they had in basketball this year as well, winning a state championship in basketball. So what is kind of the biggest key of making a long trip like this? Obviously, y'all are going tonight, and so you're not going to be riding the car the day of the game and things like that. But I mean, still being in a different place, staying in a hotel, not in your bed, all that type of stuff can play a factor in things.
Yes, it can. And it's like I said, we've talked about that with these kids. And that's one of the things I like about our going on the beach trip. We go down there and we stay in a motel. We get sort of used to that. We have to get up and do, we do our things we do with baseball and getting ready to play. And I think that helps us in this area because we've been there and done that a little bit. But it's still, like I said, you worry about, when we go over there tonight, we got to get in bed. And like I said, they're going to be staying in rooms with each other. And you worry about some of that stuff. But, like I tell them, this is your turn. You got to take it serious. And when we get there, it's baseball. And they did a great job of that at the beach. So that sort of makes me feel better about handling stuff, that in that area, because we've been there and done that already this year. And so, like I said, I feel good, as we go over there, we just, have to play our game and do what we're good at. And I think we'll have a chance.
You are leaving the day. You're going to be heading over to Scottsboro, or heading up to Huntsville and Eaton. Then you're heading over to Scottsboro, and then y'all work out at Scottsboro. And, y'all are one of the many that are going to be going to someone else's place to work out on their field, hit before the game, do that type of stuff. How great is it that, we have so many coaches and so many schools that are willing to open up their place to help other programs, to help other coaches, and to kind of help accommodate them the way that Scottsboro is doing with you guys?
Yes, it's great. I mean, even this year, Coach Smith over at Scottsboro, I called him. He said, yes, you come over. We hit over there last year. He let us hit there last year. And last year, even through all the playoffs, when we were on the road, I think Boaz, we went and hit at Boaz High School last year, and everyone just goes out of their way to help you and let you hit and work out at their place. We have some great coaches in the state of Alabama, and that will, bend over backwards to help you and for the kids and teams.
What do you know about Plainview? I mean, what do they do really well, and what are y'all going to be really looking for the most in this matchup this weekend?
They do everything very well. They throw strikes. I think last series they walked one batter. They have some very good arms, and they pound the zone. You have to beat them. They don't, like I said, they don't walk you, and they don't make errors. They play great defense, and they hit the ball. So we're going to have to go over there, and like I said, that's sort of what we try to do. We try to fill it up, throw strikes, not walk people, and play great defense. And then, and then our offense hopefully will show up and we can put together some hits and string in, get some runs along the way. And that's sort of what we try to do. And I think that's, pretty much what they are, is that they, like I said, they really throw it well. And I know they have two young men that's very, very good. And then another young man that's good too. And then, like I said, I know they hit the ball top to bottom. And then, like I said, everyone I've talked to said they play great defense.
What are you guys going to have to do really well? I mean, you kind of talk about we kind of do the same thing. We try to fill it up and all that. But I mean, like, you talk about how good their arms are. I mean, do you change anything with your approach at the plate, or or do you guys just try to take this time of year and just go about it like you have all year?
Well, we have a different approaches as far as that, but we've got a little motto that we battle. Just keep, if we're up there batting, we battling, and just keep fouling pitches off, keep working counts, and try to get a good pitch that you can drive. And if you don't, so what? Next time, it's we're not going to live and die with one at bat. We try to get our kids to understand that. But like I said, we just try to get them to keep working the counts and battle. And like I said, if we foul pitches off, then we get that pitch count up, and then we can get to another guy. But if not, then we just got to string together some hits. And like I said, we've been hitting the ball a lot better, top to bottom. And I feel comfortable with our lineup that, we can score anywhere, top to bottom. Last week, we scored probably more runs, got more hits than the bottom of our lineup, and we did the top. And that's when, if you're going to be a good team, that's what it's going to take. And our pitchers threw well last week. And we got to throw the ball well this week. We can't walk people or make errors. And if we do that, if we do either one of those, we're in trouble, because they're a good baseball team.
One of the other things about the postseason is, you go to places and they have students that are in the outfield or along the fences at times during the regular season, but it kind of amplifies here in the postseason with the student involvement and, kind of making an impact, getting on the left field or onto the right field or stuff like that. How key is it to not let any of that type of stuff affect the game when you're going on the road in the postseason?
It's big. It's different because, in the regular season, and when it gets warmer and later, you have more fans and stuff that show up, and we have great crowds at Phil Campbell. We've been blessed in that area and fortunate to play in front of a great home crowd when we get to play at home. But it's an adjustment, and that's one of the things we talked to our young kids about this week, because it is different for the most part. Is it because it's going to be a lot louder than probably you're normally used to, and then you may have to change to some of our signals up as far as that goes, of what we're doing or not doing. And that's one of the things we had to adjust last year in the state championship game. It was just so loud that they couldn't hear the first inning or so in Montgomery last year. And we had to change some things. And that's why we talked to our kids. You gotta block that out. You gotta ignore anything that you hear or what's going on, because you're there to play baseball. And if you get involved in what's being said or people in the crowds and all that stuff, then you're not going to play your best baseball, because your mind's not going to be where it needs to be. So we talk about playing in the moment, not worrying about the past, and just focus on the next pitch. And that's what we try to get them to do. And it's that's one of the things, like this younger group that we have, that you worry about. But I feel good that we've sort of seen what an atmosphere like that can be like. So it's just, if we react and do what we're supposed to, I think we'll be in good shape.
Well, Coach, really, really appreciate you taking the time to join me here on the AHSAA podcast today. I enjoyed getting to talk with you again, and good luck to you guys. A long trip over to Plainview High School, but it should be a lot of fun. It's a great matchup between, really two of the top teams here in 3A this year, and it should be a lot of fun over there, and I really look forward to seeing how things go for y'all this weekend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we appreciate you having us on and for the exposure for our program and our kids. And anytime you want to talk, you just let us know.
Yes, sir. Will do. I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you.
That's going to do it for us here on the AHSAA podcast. I want to thank Coach Drew Miller from GW Long for taking the time to join me, talk about his program and what they have going on there. And like I mentioned in the opener, should be a really fun matchup between those two programs with Orange Beach and GW Long. I think a lot of people would probably label GW Long the favorite going into the weekend because of the experience and, just because of the history of that program. There is kind of an expectation for them to just win when April and May come around. So I think you have a little bit of that there, but it's going to be a lot of fun with them. And then I really appreciate Coach Raper from Phil Campbell taking the time to join me as well. They have a great baseball program up there and some really good players as well. And they're going to look to, get over to Choccolocco Park and get to Jacksonville, but they were there right last year at Riverwalk Stadium and at Patterson Field, and now an opportunity to repeat that. We have a couple programs that are going to have a good opportunity to repeat, from being at Riverwalk last year and then being at Choccolocco Park and JSU this year. Should be a lot of fun. So it's going to do it for us on today's podcast. Really appreciate them taking the time to join us. We'll be back next week, as I mentioned a lot, every Tuesday, every Friday, right here on Apple, Spotify, on YouTube, other places that you can listen to podcasts as well. The AHSAA podcast is going up. Look, if you enjoy this, send it to your friends, send it to people that you think also enjoy hearing about high school sports and listening to other coaches, other players, media members, all of it. I've enjoyed doing this. I've enjoyed getting to talk to a lot of different people, and I hope that we get to continue doing this for the foreseeable future and spreading the AHSAA and high school athletics here in the state of Alabama.